Hello, and welcome to the Exponential Growth Podcast, powered by Analyst Investors. I'm your host, David Olivencia, co-founder of Analyst Investors, and a passionate advocate for leveraging innovation and technology to drive success. In this podcast, we'll dive into the strategies that top leaders, investors, and entrepreneurs are using to navigate and thrive in this era of accelerating technological change. Whether you're looking to lead more effectively, make smarter investments, or understand how to harness disruptive technologies for exponential growth, this podcast is for you. Each episode will feature conversations with visionary thinkers, industry pioneers, and innovative leaders who are redefining what's possible in today's rapidly evolving world. So if you're ready to start and stay ahead of this curve, let's get started. This is Exponential Growth. All right, everyone. Well, hey, welcome to another edition of the Exponential Growth Podcast. Today, I have a return guest, somebody I've known probably over a decade or so, seen him grow and his company grow, and obviously a supporter in some of the things that we're doing, including this Exponential Growth Podcast and analysts and other things. He's the producer and host of the Emmy Award winning, I think multiple Emmy Award winnings, right?
Yeah,
multiple,
hold on. Yeah. Very quick clarification there.
Yeah, multiple. The producer and host of the CEO series, which is that Emmy Award win. And you know, I was doing a little research before the show, and before we jump in, you know, these are all the, I mean, not all, but a good list of some of the CEOs that you've interviewed as part of the CEO series. So we got Kamal Kapoor of Morningstar, that was pretty recent. Vita Coco, right? Excellent water, you know, that's out there. Gary V, one of the leaders in marketing who's out there.
Yeah,
CEO
crazy person. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Very nice guy. I'm joking, but
nice guy, but crazy. But
yeah.
Good Hallow and Ship Bob, two of my unicorn investments. Morning Brew. Which you're a CEO, now part of Amazon. Giordano's, and for those, this Giordano's, well, first of all, I love Giordano's pizza. Can't have as much as I used to, but and then Chris takes this big deep dish. And by the way, Chicago deep dish, for all you New Yorkers who are listening, is like it's the Michael Jordan of pizza.
Oh,
compared
it's
to
like
what you got in
it's
New
off
York.
The charts. Yeah, I mean, and Giordano's is a staple.
So then we got Build-A-Bear, the CEO of Marcus Freeman of Notre Dame, right? Our beloved Notre Dame, CEO of Zynga, the concrete company that's killing it. Dude Wipes, and there's so many jokes that we can throw on the Dude Wipes one, but that was amazing. Potbelly, Riddell, the helmet company. I think you got a couple in the background there.
Yeah.
The Cubs.
I do.
Yeah, you got the Ricketts, the CEO of the Cubs, and then you, not to be outdone, you did the CEO of the White Sox, Jerry Reinsdorf.
And to be honest, if I interviewed Jerry Reinsdorf now, because I'm a Sox and a Bulls fan, I would just be pissed at him the whole time. So I don't know if I'd want to interview him now, and I don't know if I'd have the chops to like say what the hell are you doing with these teams, but yeah.
Well, and the Cubs are killing it, man. It's like I look at the paper and I say, what the. Cubs are first place. What the hell is
good
here?
Yeah, Cubs are good. Ricketts, I think, is like, I would say Ricketts is the best Chicago sports owner right now. I mean, we've done all of them except the Bears. So we did Danny Wirtz for the Blackhawks, and I think he's a forward-thinking owner as well. But I think the Ricketts family and Tom Ricketts is the most like let's win type of CEO. So
and they're doing a great job. So with all that preamble, welcome to the podcast, Will Salvi.
Thank you, and I'm glad I didn't mess up the first appearance where you would say I'm never having him back on again. So I did something that made you say, well, we gotta have Will back on. So
no,
thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, look, I've watched Executive House, CEO series, Tech series, CEO Roundtable, Salvi Media grow, right? And the impact that you're having, and you don't listen to me, folks. You can go right out there, YouTube, and see the growth, see the all the engagement on social media that they're having. Walk us through a little bit of, I mean, so this is your second, so people have a little bit of background, but maybe walk us a little bit through your journey and then going to, Salvi Media, CEO series, executive, how it all ties together.
Yeah. I'll give you the ultra quick version and then fast speed it up closer to now. But so I'm the youngest of five boys. I went to Notre Dame, always played sports. I played football at Notre Dame with my brother Chris. We're a very close family. So my first job out of college was in the Senate, the US Senate. I worked for a senator in DC. I studied political science. I ended up not liking that. I loved like interacting with the people there. I got to meet really interesting people, like quite literally US senators and representatives and just really interesting people. And I was in like the room with them, not in any official way that I was doing anything, but I was for some reason in that room.
As
Um,
Hamilton says, you're in the room where it happens,
yeah,
or I don't
honestly,
know,
I was
where
like an
bureaucracy
assistant.
happens,
I
right?
was like actually quick pivot to this story. Every senator and they have what's called a body man, and it's not a security person. It's literally someone who's like with them and they help them go to new meetings. They kind of like are shepherding them along while also being like a close person, close confidant, whatever. Anyways, his body man got stabbed like 7, 8 times. He's okay. He's a great guy. I was literally just talking to him the other day. Like he's all good, but long story short, he was out for like many months and I took over for him. So I was in all these meetings with the senator, like ushering, and it was just awesome. Because, all right. So anyways, I was
As
with the
long as
senator.
did you have like a bulletproof vest on
Yeah,
when you're
yeah,
walking
right.
around?
Well, the reason I'm telling this story is actually it does relate a little bit to now because I was meeting super interesting, I would call influential, powerful people. And so, and it was cool. I was interested in it. It was fun to be there. Um, didn't like working in politics and then came back to Chicago, worked for a company called Ray's Holdings, which is like a top uh, food and beverage distributor. And they're like the top sixth largest privately held company in the United States.
Yeah.
And I sold beer. Um, Fell in love with Chicago and then didn't want to work for anyone anymore. My brother Chris and I had always had like an entrepreneurial spirit. So we started Salvi Media, which is an executive content agency. We create a lot of content for executives and also for a lot of different types of brands. And then we started the CEO series about 5 years ago. We wanted to just create more original content. And so through that time, we just got more and more serious about the CEO series because we were getting good guests. And we then separated the entities because Salvi Media is a service-based business and the CEO series is original content. And we're, trying to get sponsorships and partnerships like that. So it's just different businesses. So we separated them and now it's called Executive House. And that hosts the CEO series, the tech series, and a couple of other like subsidiaries, if you will, but they're typically original content. So that's my main focus. And then we've probably done around in total about like 100-ish CEO interviews. About 85 of them have been in the format that the CEO series is in. And then we've done a couple of other things. But it's been great, honestly. Like you mentioned a couple of the episodes and a couple of people, but it's a hodgepodge of CEOs. We're not like focused on tech or CPG or we're focused on a
Yeah. So
lot of
big
different
company,
businesses.
small company, you guys
Yeah,
pretty good diverse
right.
and across the country. I think maybe even some globally.
Yeah, we're focused on credible. We always say credible executives because these are typically larger companies now. But to your point, the ones that are smaller are actually ShipBob and Hello. They're not small anymore. Like they're
Yeah,
they're
that's
actually
right.
they're actually really great startups and they're really well performing companies. So the smaller companies that we featured, I would actually say are the quote unquote winners or the trendsetters of their industry or their space. So I think we've done well at choosing real credible people talking about things that they're dealing with day to day.
So let's unpack it a little bit, right? So just so you have this overarching brand called Executive House, right? Underneath Executive House, you have a couple different sub brands, right? You have the CEO series, you have the CEO Roundtable, you have the tech series that Marcelo, my dear friend, co-founder of Analyst, Marcelo DeSantis, helps host. Um, what, how do they all tie together? What's the vision? Why have you structured it that way? Walk us through that.
Yeah. So the CEO series is our flagship. It's called Executive House because we want the platform to be, it's essentially a library of executive content. And so the vision is in 10 years, and I'm confident in this vision because we're already building quite a portfolio, if you will, of executive content. And a lot of our content is evergreen, but we're talking to credible executives, like I'd mentioned, at companies that are doing real business, real things. You know, Ozinga's a concrete company. Giordano's sells pizza. Uh, Dude Wipes sells, butt wipes for guys. And Thomson Reuters is a professional services business, and Goodyear Tire does tires. So these are some of our guests. And I guess my point is a lot of these are billion-dollar companies. They have thousands of employees, and so what we want to do is learn from, get to know, and talk to people who are doing real business in the country. And it's not, that's why we don't want to just like talk about AI and talk about something that like maybe people don't fully understand. And this is the sexy thing right now. No, these are real business leaders, and they're doing real business across the country. And it's a wide variety of types of businesses. And so we want to get to know them because we think that the business media ecosystem typically focuses on the Elon Musks, the Sam Altmans, the Jensen Huangs, the Jamie Dimons, which, by the way, they should.
And they're welcome to come on your CEO
and I
too,
want,
by the way.
Yeah, exactly. I want all these people on our shows, and we always try to get them. Like quite literally every 3 months, we try to get them. And but the business media ecosystem does not care, does not give a shit about the Goodyear Tire CEO or Thomson Reuters CEO, or we just did Scott's Miracle Grow, Morningstar. So why am I not hearing about the market from the CEO of Morningstar? Instead, I'm like waiting on what Jamie Dimon or Jensen Huang's going to say. When really, though, Kunal Kapoor for Morningstar, yes, it's a smaller company, but he's got 10,000 employees. Their whole thing is market analysis, market research, providing data, et cetera. So like, it just doesn't compute with me. And we need to hear from more people than a small set of super influential people, super wealthy people. There are more business leaders out there than we give credit for. And I think we just need to kind of open that up a little bit to hear other, by the way, good opinions. These aren't jokesters. Like these are people doing things that affect everyday people. So that's why we want to talk to them.
Yeah, and it's so I believe and align with that thesis, right? I mean, and in this, I mean, really, these are the businesses that power America, right? The diverse,
Right.
whether it's the food business, the tire business, right? All these different businesses, fast food service businesses, right? And each of these CEOs have unique insights, perspectives. Now, you've got the tech series, and so let's just talk a little bit, give a thumbnail about the tech series and how that fits in and what you're trying to do there.
Yes, I realized as I was talking, typical me, I kept talking and I was like, I don't know if I fully answered his question. So the CEO series is our flagship. The tech series is another series. We have the CEO Roundtable, Tech Roundtable. What we want to do, the vision of this is that every executive function in the C-suite has its own show. And so Marcelo DeSantis is a partner of ours. He's the host of the tech series, and he was a former chief digital officer. I think he's been a CTO. My point is he's a credible tech leader, and he's a tech executive. So he's got the chops to talk to people. He's got the network to talk to those people. So what we want to do is talk to chief technology officers, chief innovation officers, chief digital officers, people that are executives at these credible companies about tech topics. So that one's a little bit more focused, obviously, on tech and innovation and what's happening in that world. That being said, he's also doing a hodgepodge of businesses. So he's talked to Hallow. He's talked to Thomson Reuters. He's talked to Pirelli Tire, Adecco, Globant. So he's talked to a lot of great companies too. He's talked to Neurable, a startup. So, but you can see the vision now. So now we want to do a CFO show, and they're talking typically about CFO things. I would not host something like that because you would not want me to butcher the conversation. But like, so what we would want, like a host, to be able to have the chops of a CFO, to be their peer and talk to them. And the whole point is the same thing. It's like we want to talk to credible people, get opinions from them about what we want to hear about, what CFOs want to hear about, and just get a different spin on who they are as people. And I will say a very important point to this. When you think of media and when you think of like social media, anyone starting a podcast, whatever, you starting a podcast, any company starting a podcast, any person doing something where they're putting out media in a creative fashion as original content, it's very important to think about your audience. Like, it's like, you can't just say like, I want everyone to listen. It's stupid to say that. It really is. So the CFO show is not for people who are not like that. That is probably going to be a drier topic, you know? So it's very important to recognize that our audience are executives. They're people who want to learn from these types of people. They're people who want to be these types of people. It's for aspiring executives. And it's obviously a business interested audience. It's someone who says, oh, the CFO of Thomson Reuters. Yeah, like I would want to listen to that one because they have a valuable opinion about professional services and artificial intelligence and how it's gonna change the financial or legal industry. And the CFO is going to talk about how they're managing their company and how they're spending on AI, blah, 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 blah. So it's like, we want to make sure that whatever content we're pushing out, it's for the appropriate person. And so like the CFO show or the tech series are for people who are interested in that very topic. It's not just like hey, I hope everyone listens, you know? It's for a very specific group.
Yeah, and I think it's a good, I think with that niche and there's very few, like if like I grew up in the technology industry, there's very few places for content that you can go to find high quality video interviews with, call it, tech leaders.
Yeah.
Very, 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 and even less so for CFOs, and then if you want to do chief marketing officers and other seats. So I think you guys are in a great niche. And then you're coupling with the CEO roundtable or executive roundtable. Maybe give a little bit of your thoughts on what you're doing with the roundtables.
Yeah. So the roundtables are a little bit more communal. I've done 2 CEO roundtables, and Marcelo has done 2 tech roundtables. Excuse me. And that's just more for a peer-to-peer conversation with multiple people. I believe my CEO series one, the CEO roundtable has had 5 CEOs per, so 10 in total. And then it's an hour 30 long conversation where there's a little bit more back and forth. There's a little bit more dialogue between CEOs. So I'm not the CEO of Breakthrough Beverage, and I don't own the Blackhawks, but we did have Danny Wirtz on. So I'm asking Danny Wirtz a question, and then the CEO of Dude Wipes is right next to him. So they're both able to like talk to each other about what's happening both in their world, but also as CEOs. One's dealing with AI differently. So it's really a fascinating combo how they're starting to talk to one another and ask each other questions within this roundtable. And honestly, I'd like to do more of them. It's hard to get 5 of them together.
Yeah, it's a great quality, great content, great insights. But damn, getting these 5 CEOs together is, and then you as well. Like it's not like you're sitting around twiddling your thumbs either, right? So
yeah, I have to give credit. So one of our past freelancers was like, "Have you ever seen the Actors Roundtable? It's like a very popular YouTube show." And it's like they get the best actors, and Tom Hanks and Denzel Washington and Robert De Niro are all telling like the best stories about their past, their movies that they've filmed. And he was like, you should do the same thing for CEO series. And I was like, oh, that's a great idea. That being said, like when you put like Jim Carrey with Tom Hanks on an Actors Roundtable, they're like the best storytellers in the world. So when you watch that show, you're going to be like, this is the best like talk that I've heard because it's like your favorite actors. And then they're all telling like these quote unquote war stories. And CEOs need to open up a little bit more. So they need to be more
like. But look, even if it's like half as good as like having Jim Carrey and Robert De Niro,
right. That would be.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah. There's so many of them. There's director. It's great. You should check it out. It's really cool. But I digress. So that's the roundtables. So you're starting to see the through line here. We have all these businesses. We've created this network of individuals, both at the companies and at the communication PR level, where like the companies that represent these people will pitch us guests, will give us insights on who's looking for media at a given time, and then we'll just pursue them and start talking to them. And the biggest thing here is like we're trying to have real conversations with people. We live in 2026 right now, so people are a lot more forward online and what they say online. And I think CEOs are lacking right now in that sense. And I think business executives, specifically at larger companies, are lacking in that sense. That's why Jamie Dimon, Jensen Huang, Elon Musk, Sam Altman, like not only are they running some of the biggest, most influential companies in the world, and they're also all extremely wealthy and very influential personally, but they're also willing to say things out loud, and it catches a lot of attention too. So I do hold a pretty strong belief that like CEOs do need to, and executives generally, start putting your stake in the ground, start saying an opinion, like start being a thought leader. You want to be a thought leader? Don't just go on podcasts and say nice things, like go be a thought leader, go have an opinion, challenge other opinions. It's okay. Like not everyone's going to be pissed at you. It's actually what people want now. So
it's like was it this past week the GameStop CEO with the PayPal? He was like half cash, half stock. And
yeah,
thing just went crazy, right?
yeah. I watched that interview with CNBC, and they were like, "Dude, how are you going to? The math isn't mathing." And apparently he does not like CNBC for past reporting, and so he was just super short with his interview. He was like half stock, half cash.
So okay, you've got an interesting insight right now. If you pull back, right, you've whatever 100-ish CEOs you've had the chance to interview, and it's also like you not only so there's like I call it the insights of just getting the interview. Like maybe there's three phases, right? Maybe it's like to get an interview. Not all CEOs are open. They're either they don't want to necessarily put themselves out there. They're very conservative. Some are conservative, not all, but
Yeah.
So there's kind of like getting the interview. Then there's insights in getting the interview. There's insights that you can pull from the hundreds of interviews you've done, maybe post, but let's just focus on this first, just getting the interview. Like what are some interesting things you've seen or learned, and just what it takes to kind of get an interview with these CEOs?
Yeah. So one, I'm very like beholden to their time. Like you're kind of like I'm asking to like come into their office. They're very busy people typically. So like you just generally I have to be cognizant of that. I can't just be like, hey, we're doing an interview on Friday. Will you join? It's just not going to happen. But like we got a couple good ones based off our network at the beginning. We started with Wintrust. This is how we got our interviews. And the CEO of Wintrust, we went to grade school with his kids, publicly traded bank in Chicago, really reputable bank in Chicago and in the Midwest.
And by the way, and I serve on the board of one of their charters, Old Plank Trail Bank, by the way. For full disclosure.
Full disclosure. No. I'm big on Wintrust. I love Wintrust. But they I think they're a top 25 bank in the US.
Yeah.
That they are.
Totally.
Okay. So, but they're a big regional bank and they're like Chicago's bank. And so my point is that they are very involved with the business community in Chicago in the sense of banking them and supporting them and all that. But then number two, like he has a phenomenal network himself, like that CEO. His name's Ed Waymer. And so he was super kind and gave us 4 really great people. 2 of them were Fortune 500 CEOs, and 2 of them were the 2 sports owners, Tom Ricketts and Jerry Reinsdorf. They all said yes. After we got those, it was very much just like I went online and found press emails for any company that I could find in Chicago. Literally, I would just Google like, what are the coolest companies in Chicago? All the way from United and McDonald's to Binny's, Portillo's, and all those types of companies where it's just like Chicago staples. They're fun. People would recognize it. And so I would just email them all the time. And I would just say like, here's who we've had on. here's who's coming on, and I think you should do it because I would sometimes say like your videos aren't good. Like I can't find
By the
anything
way, your
about.
videos suck. Why don't you come on the
Yeah,
show?
yeah. I would just be like, your CEO has no videos online. Like, and you're like, why not? And then two, this will be fun. Like, you'll just enjoy it. It'll be a fun, good video. And so that at that time, that's kind of how we were approaching it. It's like, let's make a good video. Like, we're not interviewing them. We're just talking to them and we're asking them some questions, but we didn't like view it as an interview. So we kept doing that. David, I've probably reached out to like 3,000 companies
Oh yeah,
in
totally.
total.
Yeah, totally.
Um, and I consistently reach out to like the huge ones, Apple, Meta, Musk, like Chase, Jensen Huang. Like I consistently every quarter, I'm basically like, hey, remember me?
Yeah,
Will
you
you reach?
should. No, and
Yeah,
by the way, you should.
yeah.
They'll be on.
Oh
They'll
yeah,
be
no.
on. One of
Eventually, I'll
them.
get them.
Yeah.
So that's how we got them. We just kind of were staying very persistent, asking those people, utilizing our network. Hey, who do you know? If we did do an interview with the CEO, we said, did you enjoy the experience? Blah, blah, blah. Like, who do you got? Like, who do you have that would, maybe you have a CEO that would want to do it, a CEO friend. And some would do that. As more guests started to come around, like guest 30 to 40, around like 40, we started getting PR inquiries where people were pitching us guests. So now I don't really like my volume of reaching out to get people has significantly decreased because now I'm picking and choosing like who would I want to talk to.
Right. So the
Whereas
tables have turned
tables
where
have
you don't have
turned.
to. Now they're reaching. Now they're
Yeah.
bombarding your
Now
inbox,
they're
and now
yeah.
you get to
Now
kind
we
of pick and choose, right?
it's actually a huge bummer because there's probably we probably get pitched 5 to 10 guests a week.
Wow.
And out of the 5 to 10, 95+% of them are like super legit. Like where you're just like, oh, this is, $100 million business, $50 million, like really great companies. And we just can't interview them all. And so it's a bummer because we have to like deny really legit people. And so maybe I should do a virtual version of CEO series where it's like I qualify it in-person one, and then I do a virtual one that's longer and a little bit more, it's just virtual. It's the less quote unquote production value than what we do.
Yeah.
So that's what we do to get guests. And now, I mean, now it's an interview. Like again, the first 30, 40 episodes, it was kind of like, hey, will you do it? This is what we'll talk about. Like, this is what I'll ask. Here are some of our questions. And then it started to switch to, I'm not telling you the questions. We're not taking any edits. Like, this is an interview. I'm going to talk about that thing that happened to your company. So it's kind of shifted to this actual conversation. And now the PR people are kind of treating us like journalists, which it's kind of hard for me to put my brain around that because I am not a journalist, but I do respect the fact that if you get an interview with a guy like Kunal Kapoor or Scott's Miracle Grow, these are legit companies. These are legit people. You can't just get an interview with them and do a bullshit interview. It's lame. No one wants to hear that. No one, I think even the CEO is like, I'm not doing that. This is like, talk to me.
Yeah.
But the PR teams are treating it like an interview. So they're kind of like, they're making sure is this the right thing we should do? Like, should we do this interview? Because they may bring up the lawsuit that we had 15 years ago. Like that's quite literally kind of how they treat us. So that's how we get guests. We pick and choose who gets pitched to us just purely based off of the story, the interest. Is the CEO a reputable person? Like, do they have an opinion on anything? That's one of the reasons why we deny quite a bit now is like, they're kind of just showcasing like, hey, here's a great company. They're doing 200 million in sales, but there's not really like it's just like a good company and there's not really cool.
Yeah.
It's just like an impressive person and it's impressive founder, but there's not really like a story or an opinion there. It's not really. So we're trying to get more into that newsy, trendy conversation. But your original question was insights on how to get guests.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you like? Did you, the CEOs have gatekeep, it's not, well, one of the insights is, hey, you build some momentum and you put out a great product and people, they come to
Yeah.
you. That's
Yeah.
one. But then is there anything like, the CEO, there's some particular, you got, sometimes their PR people are pain in the butt, like what, or any insights in that area for people who make, because probably many people who are listening to this call would love to figure out how do I break into a C, not break into, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
land time with the CEO is not easy, right? And
yeah,
so you're able to get that. So maybe any insights there.
yeah. Well, one, I think like I'm very direct. So to the point of like, I do tell them immediately that I do say like your CEO's got nothing online. You should be talking about this. Like I'm kind of forward on how I speak about corporate talk, like corporate speak is what I call it. It's like LinkedIn words. Everyone at large companies, like they don't speak like regular humans. So, and I think it's the ugliest thing in the world in 2026. Like young people don't like it. So a lot of big corporations do this still. That's like an old PR playbook. It's like you're saying everything without saying anything at all. So to get to them and to get their attention, I tell them like I'm me. I'm authentic. I think our body of work now has proven itself where it's like, okay, they're not jokers. Like we're not having a joke conversation with joke people. No, like I just had two public companies that do like one did like 2 billion in revenue and one did 3.7 billion in revenue. One's been around for 150 years. Like these are legit people in their space. And
Yeah.
so our body of work has shown that we're not jokers, and I'm just very direct on why they should do it. But to be honest with you, David, I don't pitch them anymore. I used to pitch the PR teams and the CEOs like exactly the way I just said it. I was like, why would you do an interview with CNBC? They're going to talk to you for 5 minutes and they're going to move on to the next story. And they're going to talk to you about only that one thing. I'm going to talk to you about that one thing, but also 10 other things. And it's going to be this beautiful video. It's going to be in your headquarters and it's going to be a good online play for you. Like you should have a interview online about yourself. Why? Because that's our world. Like people look you up and they want to see you. They don't want to see the bio on the website anymore. They want to see videos of you, and they want to get to know you. Young people do, and so that's what I will say to people. And then with the CEO specifically, I do keep them in my network, as you know, and I one I don't want to call it like bullets to shoot with them. It's kind of like how many bullets do you have with certain people? Like maybe you and I have many bullets together. You could always text Chris or I, and it's like we're not really thinking in bullets because we have a really sincere, good relationship. But like maybe a CEO that you don't know as well, and you're just starting a relationship, you're not going to just like text them out of the blue or email them out of the blue. You got to be pretty deliberate on how you're communicating with them. So in that sense, I would just say respectful of their time, respectful of their of what they're focused on. But then on top of that, like get to the point. Like I Mr. Blink, like I do not put them in a pedestal. It goes back to my conversation about the Senate and being around senators and representatives. Honestly, David, I don't care about who they are. I care if they're good people. I care if they're like, I respect what they've done. I respect where they've come from. But at the end of the day, like if you're not like a good person, I'm not going to treat you like you're all that. So I think they appreciate that about me in the way that I communicate with them. And I just kind of get to the point whenever I want to do something. I'll literally email someone when there's a breaking news on their story. And I'm like, hey, we should talk about this. And that's it in the email. So, and I think they like that. And I've noticed like whenever they talk to me through email, it's kind of like texting. It's very like, it's direct.
Very
Like there's no
direct.
formality of the email. Like Mr. Salvi, thank you for the time that you took today. Like they don't talk like that. Get to the point, make sure it's focused, and make sure that it has some relevance to them.
Yeah. 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 No, that's good. So those are like, because not everybody's dealing with CEOs and array and interviewing them and all the prep. So I think those are good insights for the audience there. Now, I call it the second part. Now you've interviewed these CEOs, asked them questions. They've given their perspective on industries, on challenges, on all kinds of different aspects. Anything what are the key learnings that you had there? And if you could maybe, just, yeah, key insights, key learnings, maybe things that you had expectations coming in with that CEOs, how they were acting, thinking, challenges, and then coming out and say, wow, I never would have guessed it's this. Interviewing these people, wow, there's this common thread that just I never would have imagined. So any insights there?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's not like a one thing that I think everyone thinks of like a big business CEO. You kind of have a picture in your head about what that person is and what that person looks like and how they act and who they are. And so I just think generally there's not like a one size fits all. And I'm talking from all the way billion-dollar companies to startups. Like there's not a startup CEO and there's not a big company CEO. They're all type different. That being said, like you get a little more corporate, you get like in the tens of thousands of employees, you do start to see similarities of that type of CEO versus the founder, startup CEO. That they're all very decisive and they're all very focused on what they're doing. Like they don't muck around with other things. I've noticed that pretty clearly with all of them. It's like if they have an outside hobby, it's one or two. If they're when they're talking about their job or their work or what they do, it's like one or two things, and the rest is kind of like managing their highest managers, honestly. So they're very focused, and yeah, I think just decisive and focused is my biggest takeaway from them. They're all smart. I mean, I think the CEO role right now gets a lot of scrutiny from a lot of like the general mass public. Like the American mass public right now has like a negative view of quote unquote CEO and specifically
Big business CEOs.
big business CEO. And I think it's it's partly a good critique, but it's more nuanced than just like they're bad. Because the Elon Musk, Jamie Dimon, Jensen Huangs, like those guys take up so much oxygen and they have such extreme wealth that it kind of gives a lot of other big business CEOs like a terrible starting point for either getting to know them or liking them. Or so like Kunal Kapoor is a big business CEO. He's got, I think, 11,000 employees. They do a couple billion.
Multiple business
global. Like
lines.
it's a very influential company, but people would probably view that on paper and just be like, "Oh, this guy sucks." He's a big business CEO. And I'm talking like an average like 23-year-old in America right now that's just started working. Like, oh, that guy. Yeah. So I think like the CEO perception kind of has a negative vibe right now amongst people. And I would just say to that I think that's fair, but I also think that generally there's no one size fits all. Like some of these people are really great. Some of these people are really shrewd and really clearly like kind of like the crazy business person. I've noticed that there's a couple where I'm like, oh, you're nuts. Like you might be nuts. And then there's some where I'm like,
that the dude wipes? Is that dude wipes?
Not dude wipes. Sean's great.
Okay.
I love Sean. Yeah. And then you got people who are like true American dream people. And I believe it to my core. It's like, you have people who I'll actually use Sean Riley of Dude Wipes. You have a person who started a company with two of his friends in college or shortly after college. They were roommates together. They start this company and now they have like probably close to 100 employees and they're doing like 300 plus million in revenue. And the way it seems from my outside perspective, because I'm not at Dude Wipes as an employee, but they're very popular within their company. Everyone loves working for them. Like they get great reviews on like Glassdoor, all that crap. So like, I guess my point is like, that's it. That's what people want. That when you say in America, I want to start a business, that's what you want. That's what the dream is, quote unquote. So and he's a CEO and it's a big business. It's not, that's a huge business compared to everyone else's business. So, in that sense, I think people need to hear other stories and and give a little grace because we need to hear other stories. Otherwise we're going to think the world's run by like that top tier and they don't represent most people. They don't.
Most CEOs, right? They're not. Yeah, exactly.
No, they don't. Yeah, right. They don't even represent most business leaders. They are in truly like a different stratosphere. So that's why we want to talk to the Sean Rileys and the Kunal Kapoors. Like, yes, we are talking to a big CEO, but see, there's a lot of different ones. He wears a tank top and he has like a mullet, like he's an interesting guy, and he's he's like a very nice person, and people love working for him. And that's great. We should learn from this guy. And he's successful. Like, let's learn from this guy. Let's hear his opinion on AI. Why? Why not? Because what? Because it's a butt wipe? No, he's using AI in his company. How is he using AI? Let's hear from him. So that's kind of our thesis, and that's what I've noticed about people. And honestly, we're trying to take more data from each interview, from the transcripts to the size of the company, the time the company's been around. Is the person a founder? Are they a past executive? Are they a past CEO? Are they a chairman now? Like, we're trying to take more data from our interviews, and ultimately we want to write like a book, not like a story-driven book, but more so almost like how they communicate, what they are, kind of like insights on being like a large company CEO. And so that's what we're going to do in the further out future, where we're taking some of these learnings to essentially like dissect it deeper.
That'd be excellent. Kind of pulling all those insights together in a piece of knowledge and creating some knowledge assets around that. So you got a lot of things going on. I know you're very shortly going to be heading out to Rome.
I got more time right now, to be honest.
I know.
Yeah.
It's okay. But
I just like talking, as you can tell. Yeah. David, this is why I ask questions versus like talk, because sometimes I start talking, I'm just like, shit, I went way too long.
No, it's good. It's all good. Look, so so maybe just we'll kind of close it out here with maybe some of your last thoughts. But then I think
I'm going to try to go so hardcore opinion or something right now, hot take, so you can have some good clips. Like let's rock and roll.
Yeah. Go to the hole. Like getting ready to slam dunk.
Let's just slam dunk this ending right here.
So the executive. So like, hey, what kind of give our viewers kind of what they can expect over the next kind of years, and then any closing thoughts, right? In terms of what you would like to impart to the listeners out there.
So Executive House, we have our shows that we run it. It's produced like a podcast where we get guests and we release the episode based off our timeline. It's not based off of like every Monday we're going to release an episode, because we have to secure CEO spots. And so it does take some time schedule manipulation, if you will, to release episodes. But the next, 12 to 18 months, we're going to be releasing probably 1 to 3 episodes per month of the CEO series, a little less on the tech series. And then we're going to continue to look for either partners or other people to start creating some of those other shows, like the CFO, the CHRO, the COO, et cetera, to start producing and creating those shows. And that's going to take a lot of legwork. You need to find like a chief operating officer or someone who has the chops to be a host. And, what is that partnership? Is a contract? Are they part of our company? So we need to figure that out. And are there partners that want to work with us? And then you need to get guests, and then you need to ultimately make the show. So that's number one. We have a CEO only newsletter that you're on that newsletter, David. But we have a CEO only newsletter where this is literally people that it's probably a list of like 120 people, super legit companies, super legit people. Most of them are the CEOs from our show, but we're going to do a newsletter that is correspondence directly to them. And it'll also be something where they can participate in the newsletter to maybe even talk to them amongst one another and be thought leaders amongst one another, something that we think would be very valuable both to the CEOs and to potential partners of Executive House. And then, it's the content game, and this is what I'm focused on. Chris runs our entire company, but I'm focused on like the CEO series and Executive House. So my goal is to continue to drive the content just to make it more interesting and better, and just get even more real with these CEOs. I want to have actual conversations with them. I want to talk about the elephant in the room. I want them to feel like it's kind of like we see it with celebrities. It's like they go on Joe Rogan, they go on these very popular podcasts, Alex Cooper. and they confess things. They say like pretty intimate details about their life, and people love it. 2026, people don't want you to say bullshit on the podcast. They want you to be confessional. They want you to talk. I mean, quite literally, celebrities are like, I was
confessing
addicted to
right now,
drugs.
Will. Start
Yeah.
open up, baby.
Yeah. Celebrities
No,
are
that's
like,
okay. That's all right. Maybe that's the next one. The next one you can really open up.
yeah. Celebrities on podcasts will just be like, I was addicted to drugs and I cheated on my wife. And people are like, I love their humility. And it's like, it's this weird thing. And I'm convinced it's because the population wants more authenticity, like actual authenticity from people. And that word gets thrown around a lot, but it's like actual real people they want more of, which makes me think, man, I think the world of AI and technology, it's going to be pretty interesting on how this creates, how it moves with media and content. I think that people will just generally gravitate to more real and authentic versus orchestrated, fake, and artificial content. I think it's going to just put more of a premium, more and more of a premium on who did you get for the interview and what did they talk about? Like that's what's the premium. It's just going to be more and more sought after because there's going to be so much fake shit out. So that's what we're focused on in the future, is just continuing to make our content better, look for partners. We air on YouTube. We actually just started a partnership with Morning Brew yesterday, officially.
Good. So we're making that announcement on the Exponential Growth podcast.
News.
Breaking news. Okay.
Yeah, I might post this on LinkedIn in a few days. So I'm depending on when you release this, but breaking news. But we did just sign a partnership with Morning Brew, and which is super exciting. So we always look for partners like that, where they're business-centric media companies, and can we either host our content or do content together? That's what we'll be doing with Morning Brew, and there's like revenue share and that type of opportunity with that partnership. But yeah, man, I'm just trying to talk to CEOs who care about doing the right thing, because that's what matters. You go to sleep at night and you feel good about what you did for your people, what you did for your community, what you did for others. You don't think about how much money you made. I mean, you do, but you don't die thinking, man, I hoarded so much wealth and influence within my company. It's like, no. You are happy when the community around you they felt challenged and happy and fulfilled and purpose driven, and ultimately they did the right thing. And I think business leaders nowadays have stopped asking what is right and what is wrong, and they've only been pursuing winning and performance and kind of like politics a little bit. And I hate it. And I think people need to start asking what's right and wrong. I think people need to start winning. We're running businesses here. You need to win. You need to make money. I get it. So you got to, that's a reality of business, and there's harsh realities to that. But you need to start asking what's right and wrong, not just like what's the next opportunity or how can I dominate the market, or like people need to start asking what's right and wrong, because there's people out there that work for these individuals and they work for these companies. They spend years of their life, their livelihoods depend on it. And ultimately, like, we want good leaders. And I think the business community at the highest levels have failed. And do you want to end on that note, or you?
Look, I mean, I tend to agree. I mean, and I think this is why you're doing what you're doing, right? And I think it will highlight that and bring that, out to these, call it niche audiences, but there's always aspiring CEOs, there's aspiring CFOs. And the great thing is you guys make this content public, and you're going to be putting out all kinds of insights around it. And you guys are just warming up, right? I mean, this is, they've seen the momentum, seen what you guys have built and where this thing is going to go, and the networks, that you're building around it, the insights, the content. It's an exciting time. So
Thank you.
I know you got a lot going on. Thanks for jumping on the Exponential Growth Podcast. Enjoy Rome, enjoy Europe, and
I can keep going.
Let's stay connected.
I appreciate you, David. You're the man. I appreciate all that you do, and thanks for letting me talk. Every time I do one of these, it reminds me why I should be asking questions, because I talk too much. So, and my ADHD just like I realized like I start answering questions kind of like Gary Vee, where I'm like, oh no, I didn't answer anything. Even if I sounded good, I didn't really answer it. I'm trying. I don't know.
Excellent, bro. All right, great catching up. Thanks,
Yeah.
man.
Thanks, David.